Welcome in to Bears Weekly, powered by IGS Energy, a Chicago Bears network production. Bears Weekly is brought to you by Advocate Healthcare, Athletico Physical Therapy, CD Gallagher, Connie's Pizza, IGS Energy, and Miller Lite. Here are your hosts, Jeff Joniak, a.k.a. the Mayor of Bearsville, and his sidekick, Tom the Surfmaster Thayer.
For the first time in a long while, the Bears are victorious at Soldier Field, ending what was a 2-year span of 6 straight home losses. 31-14 over the Cowboys reveals many things. We break it down here on Bears Weekly and a special Monday night edition here on ESPN 1000 on the Bears Radio Network with Super Bowl winning Bears guard Tom Thayer. I'm Jeff Joniak. Coming up the program, we'll hear from Ben Johnson, the Bears head coach, a portion of our interview for our Bears Etc. podcast that drops on Tuesday morning. Cornerback Tyreek Stevenson and starting center Drew Dahlman. We also get a jump on the Raiders with their former starting linebacker Kirk Morrison, now radio analyst in Vegas. And we got Dan Brilli, Jordan Treadup, and Katie Fox, producer Kendra Smith, executive producer Eric Ostrowski. Tom, good to have that win. I know we both had a big kick out of calling that game.
Oh, yeah. And all the people you talk to over the time since the game has ended up until now is so excited about their experience watching the game or listening to the game or the results that they just were able to read about. And I think for myself, going back and watching the tape of the game, it keeps you awake rather than hard to stay awake because there's so many exciting things to see in there. And, whether Ben refers to it as eye candy or window dressing or whatever he wants to say about it, it's exciting to see the process and the development of this offense and the defense for that matter.
All right, touch on the injury news real quick. Didn't really have much to say about like the T.J. Edwards, Kyler Gordon aspect of things, but it looks like, and from the information that he has, Ben Johnson believes that Jalen Johnson will elect to have surgery to repair his injury, but does not rule him completely out for the season.
Well, I mean, it's too far in advance to even admit to something like that, but get the injury corrected properly, professionally, to the point where you can become a professional athlete again. You're not just going to an office and sitting in a recliner chair for 12 hours a day. And I think that's how you have to do your due diligence when you're correcting any type of sensitive surgery for a professional athlete and make sure it's done correctly.
And it looks like Colston Loveland's going to be okay. Hip, he had to leave the game, but doesn't appear to be serious.
Good. I'm glad, because I don't want to see Colston miss any time right now. The importance of the position overall, whether Ben wants to refer to it as blockers or pass catchers, the role that they play on this offense, the movement of this offense, the efficiency of the blocking, running, and passing game. I think the tight end position is uber important.
Earlier today, our weekly visit on the Bears Etc. podcast with head coach Ben Johnson recapping win number 1.
Yeah, I think everyone's excited. There's a number of things we need to clean up as an entire team, but I really thought that the guys battled their tails off. We responded well from what happened the prior weeks, and I really think that the keys to victory that we outlined early in the week, they came to fruition for us, and our guys executed really well.
I can already feel it brewing, Ben. Theme of the week: how do you deal with success?
Oh, yeah. There's no doubt.
Right?
We've been talking about blocking out the noise all year long, all training camp. This is just another step of that. So we had our best week of preparation last week, and we're going to need the same thing again this week to continue to have the result.
31 points, snapped a streak of 13 consecutive games scoring fewer than 30, and 4 turnovers by the defense. I highlight those two things because one feeds the other.
I mean, we didn't start the game out the way we wanted to on offense, really with a 3-and-out, and then defense comes out and, they're able to get a little bit of yardage on the first play, and then the second play is going to be an explosive run, and all of a sudden you got Tyreek getting the ball out for us. And then the offense responded with the touchdown of their own, and, I thought there was a lot of that piggybacking throughout the course of the game where if one unit was struggling a little bit, the other unit would respond. Same thing with special teams. I thought our special teams unit played really well. They have a dynamic returner in Turpin, and I felt like for the most part we negated the threat that he presents. And we had 3 defensive drives that started inside the 25-yard line from our kickoff unit, and then we had that one punt that went out on the 8-yard line. So we won the field position battle in that regard, and like I said, really good complementary football throughout. Be ready to go.
It was a dizzying offensive game plan. Concepts galore, everybody getting the football, and clearly that means that Caleb was seeing it well too then, right?
Yeah. I think our guys really we're at the step now where we've had a few of these game plans. They know how to approach the week coming in on a Wednesday and a Thursday and a Friday, and how much the volume is going to be and how much time they need to devote into the playbook and in the walkthrough and time outside of the building in order to digest enough of it to execute it at a high level on game day. And so that's where I have a higher comfort level as a play caller and us as a staff by putting this plan together to where we can soup it up just a little bit more, put a little bit more bells and whistles on there. The first couple of weeks it was more vanilla, more basic by design, and now we're going to really hit our rhythm and our stride now that we're getting into some normal game weeks.
See, the key to interviewing somebody like yourself who's very descriptive is these words that stick out. First thing, you said souped up. I'm thinking muscle car, right? Like, you look at it this way?
Yeah.
Soup up the engine, baby.
Yeah. End of the day, I keep talking about, no, it's the fundamentals, though. It's what's under the hood's the most important thing. And, our deuce blocks got to look a certain way. Our triples got to look a certain way. All those things, that's the core part of what we do. And then the more confidence we get with each other, that's where we can add some of the fun stuff on the outside that it's really just for window dressing and eye candy more than anything else to try to slow the defense down. But the meat and the bones is always going to be in the fundamentals.
All right, a lot. I love his descriptions of things. It's you can visualize it, right? You can visualize what he's talking about.
Yeah, well, that's the thing about it is, Ben has never disappointed me when he stands up at the podium, whether in good times or bad times, because what he's telling you is the truth. But it's just a matter of understanding exactly what he's saying and how it pertains to further success and development. So I'm glad that the players, the coaching staff, everybody involved in the organization inside the locker room, they benefited with a victory against the Dallas Cowboys. But you can see that Ben almost has that in the rearview mirror already.
Oh, yeah.
And now he's on to thinking about what he can take from that game, how it can improve in the advancement of the Chicago Bears, and now how can they go and get ready for the Vegas Raiders.
I chose to use the word dizzying with him because I had a hard time figuring out all the different things he was doing. 7 players with 10-plus yard plays, 4 players with 30-plus, including a 41-yard screen to DeAndre Swift. You had the fun stuff, and you had the 19-play drive with 7 different guys running the football yesterday. How did you look at it from a fellow football man like yourself, from Ben's perspective, and you being an offensive lineman?
Well, even, when you read the numbers of that drive, I really wasn't thinking about that and checking off the boxes, oh my God, 11 times. I was thinking of how exhausting it must be for the offensive players, but that's the mentality of an offensive player. But then you look at the defense and the substitutions they're making, guys standing at the line of scrimmage with their hands on their hips, how exhausting that is if you're playing in a position on defense that's thin. So when you talk about a time-consuming drive, and I remember looking at my sheet, 10 minutes, 3 seconds left to start that drive, and then it went all the way down to 0.3 of a second. So it was an incredible feat of conditioning, and those are some of the unseen coaches and the unseen people behind the scenes that have a hand in the hydration, have the dietitians, have the strength and conditioning coaches, and those types of guys. That's their reward for a drive like that.
And the reward was finishing it off, though, man. If they didn't, you wonder. That's a lot of work to put in to get nothing out of it, right? Coming up, Bears cornerback Tyreek Stevens, who had a big game, next on ESPN 1000 of the Bears Radio Network.
Welcome back to Bears Weekly on the Bears Radio Network. Here's your host, the voice of the Bears, Jeff Joniak.
This segment of Bears Weekly is brought to you by IGS Energy. Jeff and Tom breaking things down. So a lot of things happen in this game defensively that we can't even cover all of it, but a lot of good stuff from Dennis Allen, Tom. I think I really enjoyed how he called this football game. Did sit in a lot of cover 2 back there, but that kept eyes on the quarterback, kept things in front. We saw the check down city. We talked about it a lot with Their tight end, Ferguson, getting 14 targets and 13 catches in the game, but not even for 100 yards of offense. After you watched the tape, what stuck out defensively that really got your attention?
Of the variety of personnel he used up front, in the different fronts that he wanted to have. If he wanted to use 4 down linemen as rushmen, he used that. If he wanted to use 3 down linemen as a linebacker and still blitz the linebacker, he was able to do that. And so the different types of defenses of in the front 7 or 8 that he made the young offensive linemen, the quarterback, the running backs, the tight ends, everybody think about their assignment before they could actually get off the line of scrimmage. So I did like the versatility. I like that his configurations of coverages that, okay, we'll give you a shorter completion, but we're not going to give you anything after the catch. And so when you talk about the tight end having 82 yards of receiving, the reason why is they had good coverage surrounding that tight end position.
Right, and then on top of it, the 3 safety look. You mentioned some of the players that really had a hand in this. Guys like Dominique Robinson, first full sack since his NFL debut 4 years ago against San Francisco on that rain-soaked field at Soldier when they laid the new turf. That was against the 49ers. You know, you think about it, he had 550 snaps as a rookie. 242 in year 2, only 84 defensive snaps last season. He's already up to 49 in 3 games. You can see it in his body language. I saw him after the game, gave him a high five. He was just tickled. Noah Sewell up to 164 snaps, playing linebacker and looking good doing it in his first 3 games.
Yeah, listen, man, he has got great quickness. He's got great lateral commitment. And they used to have a saying around here to the linebacker position, don't go until you know. And there's a couple of evidences of that by Noah Sewell where they threw their check down to the left and he took a great, perfect lateral angle to get to the point of catch and make the tackle immediately, whether it was on CeeDee Lamb or tight end a couple times, or they tried to fake him out of position with play action and bootleg away. And he committed to that tight end. And as soon as he saw that tight end cross his face, he got in that toe-to-toe, hip-to-hip running position with him and batted the ball away. So, listen, Noah Sewell is playing at a very high rate of speed because that's what he's gifted, but he's able to use intelligence and speed all at once.
The play that turned the tide of the game early led to the dismantlement of Dallas, in my opinion. Tyreek Stevenson, the strip and the fumble recovery of Javonte Williams on the Dallas opening drive pumps some life into the building. Stevenson at the podium breaking that thing down earlier today at Hallis Hall.
As he was looking for the block, I just was like, he don't want it, so I'm going to just take it pretty much.
You feel like you were in bounds in the moment? It's kind of hard to tell as you're going full speed, right?
I didn't even know I toe tapped it. I just was really going after the ball, and once I swiped down to take it, everything else after that was just me being a football player.
We see receivers do that sideline drill all the time, but for corners, I mean, is it kind of that same strategy to keep your feet in bounds to make the play and then just kind of be aware where your feet are?
Yeah, just knowing where you're at on the field, just making sure that you can be the athlete you are, just making sure that when you're close to the sideline, and I kind of pretty knew we was on the sideline. Once I got off the block, I reestablished myself back in, and I knew we was dangling on that line, but honestly, I still can't believe I did that too, so.
Did you ever realize that, in the aftermath of that, did you realize the momentum that you were giving, not just the defense, but the team overall?
I felt it. I definitely felt it, and we needed that. We came out, we had a 3-and-out, definitely didn't what we want, and for me to be able to spark the momentum, I felt it. The whole team felt it. I'm glad I was able to make that play for us.
Have you ever in a game just ripped the ball away from somebody?
No, that was crazy. It's the first time I ever just was like, because I think about it all the time, and we work peanut punch, and I was just like, I'm gonna just take it. I honestly was just like, I'm gonna take it moment, and I just took it.
What was your sense of focus during the week?
Last week just showed me I need to hone in on the small details and stay consistent at everything that I do, far as coming in, making sure I understand the plays, making sure I'm working on myself, making sure I'm taking care of my body, making sure I'm taking the right meds, and just making sure everything that I do on a consistent basis to lead up to the game is true, and I stay true to that process.
Did you feel like you proved something to yourself just by how you flushed the first 2 weeks? You had a good performance yesterday.
Honestly, no. I know I'm capable of having this game. Every game that I step on the field, it's just about how I go about it, and me being consistent throughout the week with my preparation. And honestly, I just felt like this week I took my preparation up to another level, which allowed me to play a little bit more freely, and it showed.
What's been the conversation in the room about, not having Jalen?
Pretty much next man up. We got to step up. Jalen was a big piece of this defense, and right now we missing that. And for me and all the other guys in the room, all we could do is pick up the slack and go out there and play our best game to make sure that it ain't no fall off without Jalen being out.
In the first half, you almost had one along the right sideline on your pick. What did you see on that one? I feel like you were kind of frustrated that you didn't get that one.
Yeah, I was definitely frustrated because that was like something like being prepared, like motion over, option route, take away a leverage, make a play on the ball, and that's what we was working on all week. And just for it to be there for me and not make it definitely left me a little bit of frustration.
Jaquan told us about the defensive players only meeting that was called last Wednesday. How does that go down? Because obviously your day is so structured when you're in here. Where do you guys find time to do it? Where do you do it? Like, how does that get out to the rest of the defense? Hey, we're doing this. It's just players only here.
Group chats. Every leader of a specific group just hit the group chat, and if we got to come in an hour early, get up and come in. Like it ain't nothing to it but to do it, and that's where the trust and us making sure that we're prepared to go out here and be the monster of the midway start at.
Is there a different level of leadership you're seeing from this defense this year?
Yes. Honestly, I feel like all the guys is definitely taking everything personal and to heart with how we practice and with how we are, looked at and what type of defense we want to be known as. Like we want to be, as far as the secondary, we want to be known as the best. The linebackers the best. The D-line the best, and that comes with staying the course and working hard. And we're just looking up to every challenge for the rest of the season.
Ear-to-ear smile after the game, holding his brand-new baby and a young child, but bemoaning the missed interception he had. But Are you sensing a maturation right before your eyes with Tyreek Stevenson, the way he's been playing?
I do, and I think this is a good coaching staff, especially the assistant coaches, guys like Al Harris, that have plenty of NFL experience to kind of relay the message to him about not only being a quality human being, but being a quality football player because you have quality skills. And I looked at you in the booth, and Ben has brought, I've never seen a moving fumble. And for him to create that's another new on Soldier Field. And so it's not like we can say, oh, yeah, I remember that 5 years ago when so-and-so. Yeah, there is the peanut punch, but that dislodged the football, and that it was a scrum for the ball. He actually kept his feet in bounds and took the football away. And then the Bears offense capitalized on it. I think that was the biggest exclamation point to the play that Tariq made.
And for the day, the Bears on third down held the Cowboys to 3 of 11, and now they're number 2 in the NFL at 30.3 third down defense. So that's important as we move forward. All right, we're going to take another break. Coming up next, Bears talking offensive lineman with Tom Thayer, offensive lineman Drew Dolman, next on ESPN 1000 of the Bears Radio Network.
This is ESPN Chicago, WNVP, WTBC, HD2 Chicago, a Good Karma Brands radio station.
Welcome back to Bears Weekly on the Bears Radio Network. Here's your host, the voice of the Bears, Jeff Joniak.
This segment of Bears Weekly brought to you by Athletico Physical Therapy. Visit athletico.com to request an in-clinic or virtual appointment and start feeling better tomorrow. Jeff and Tom with you as we take a look at the Bears' offensive line. Tom, for the first time in his 20 NFL games, Caleb Williams did not get or take a sack. He was terrific, and so was the offensive line doing their job in the pass blocking mode, right?
Yeah, they did a great job. They really did. They understood the task that they are up against and a lot of the criticism they've taken in the last couple weeks. And even when you listen to an offensive lineman, you could go across the board and interview any one of them, and none of them will ever admit to playing a perfect game because you never do play a perfect game. Even as well as they played, as well as they pass blocked, the nice fits they had in the run game, they still didn't play a mistake-free game, and that will come. I don't agree with the holding call that they called against Darnell Wright. I'll go back.
Well, that's 2 weeks in a row then. Right?
I know.
Yeah,
I don't agree with it. And so I went and watched every angle I possibly could. But listen, that game is open. That's a play that you forget about. But the whole no sack against the Dallas Cowboys and that defense and the defensive coaching staff, I'm proud of my guys.
All right. So mentally and physically getting ready for a 19-play drive, as Tom alluded to, takes a lot. Here's Drew Dahlman with that and more.
Got to be prepared. Got to be in good conditioning shape. Got to be ready to execute when you're tired, and when you're fatigued, they're fatigued. And so I think that was a testament to our preparation that week. And drives like that are great as an offense. You shoot clock, keep the defense off the field. So hopefully more of those.
Do offensive linemen appreciate 11 straight runs and run blocking in situations? That's something you get particular joy out of, seeing yourself wear down the defense.
Yeah, definitely enjoy that. I think in the moment, I don't know if any of us are really tallying or anything like that. They told us in the morning that it was 11 straight runs. I don't think anyone really connected the dots. But yeah, it just run that play, recollect yourself as much as you can, and then focus on the next one. So I think we kind of segment the one play at a time.
What could that mean for kind of the identity of the team, just in terms of physical toughness, mental toughness, that sort of thing?
Yeah, I think definitely stuff that we've preached from day one of OTAs, going on, is we want to be a team that's physically prepared, in good shape, and able to go the distance in those long physical games. So I think it's proof to ourselves that what we've been doing is setting us on the right path, and that we need to continue, and that you can't let up for a second, because you need the ability to be able to do that.
Drew, as you reviewed the final drive before halftime yesterday and the way you guys handled that, what stood out to you?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think obviously really critical situation, kind of that middle eight of the game, and so being able to come away with points there, kind of extend that lead, and then give yourself some momentum going into half was really good. And then just as a whole, we talked about it today, defense did a great job getting us the ball back, and then offense holds up their end of it, putting up some points. So it was good to see us playing cohesive football in that way.
That drive felt like it started out a bunch of runs and felt like using clock was the main priority, and then there came an opening to kind of put the foot on the gas. What did you notice from that standpoint of where you guys got aggressive and then obviously finishing it in the end zone?
Yeah, I think, none of us are thinking we're just going to run the clock out or anything like that. Whatever play is called, our intention is to score. And so we're doing that, putting ourselves ahead of the sticks and being able to, be in a good down and distance to be able to call whatever we want. So I think, we take a lot of pride that every play we call, we should have the ability to score.
Drew, what stood out about the pass protection? What were you guys doing so well yesterday?
I guess first I would say there are definitely things that we still could have done much better, and we will continue to work on those and improve. But did a better job as a unit handling some of the movement in the games and kind of helping each other so that we're not all taking a bunch of one-on-one reps out there. And so I think guys did a great job straining, and we'll continue to get better, because it definitely wasn't perfect or up to our standards.
But to come away with, the sack stat, just 0. Caleb never had that in his career. How much pride do you guys take in that, of keeping him clean? Yeah,
it's good. It's good for Caleb, good for us. But I think I don't really feel like we're chasing things like that. We're chasing what our standard is and what we can do. And so you could give up no sacks, but maybe Caleb bailed us out of a few. And so it could have been better on our end. And so I think that's how we'll focus on it.
They'd like to do a little bit better in the run game, no question about it. But overall, that was a very improved effort by the starting 5 up front.
Yeah, like I say, you never play a perfect game. You only play to get better. And Drew talked about fitting into their double team blocks, their duos, the different types of blocks, however you want to describe them, how they're getting to know each other better. One thing I liked about the game yesterday, there was probably maybe 10 or 12 times that you were referring to the play clock. And if you it goes down to 7. There was no sense of urgency. There was still a calm. And that calmness comes from Drew and Caleb and the rest of the linemen that are becoming familiar with the rhythm of the cadence. So I think when you make that advance in the terms of the cadence, I think it just shows you sign of the maturation process between that group of offensive linemen and Caleb.
Do you agree with some of the line of questioning that this could be a defining drive, that 19-play drive for the season? I know Ben was joking with you in the postgame, but also with me earlier today. He likes one-play scoring drives. but he gets it. He said he didn't realize how long that drive was or how many runs in a row that he called. He's just calling plays the way he sees fit. So, I think we in our mind want this to be a violent, in your trenches, physicality. We're gonna make you feel like you just got through a war playing the Bears. But is that, how do you look at it? I don't want to put words in your mouth.
No, I just think it shows you the toughness of the offensive lineman, first of all, because when you look at a 19-play drive, you're only looking at the incremental ground you're gaining per play. You're not thinking, oh, that's play 1, check it off. Okay, play 2, check it. No, you're just thinking about, where is that first down marker? What is the play called in the huddle? What is my assignment? What is the difficult part of this play that I have to make sure that I have an individual assignment that I can withstand my responsibility so the play can be successful. There's 1,000 little things that are going through your head. Every single play called, every down and distance, what you got to do to get to that next first down marker. So I don't think that you're counting plays. All that you're doing is looking forward.
Yeah. Do you think, though, that it means anything? Is it too early?
I mean, it's what Ben says. It's the scoring part of it. This is the third week of the season. So does it mean anything? Yeah, it means that you're capable of doing that. But like you said earlier in the show, I can go back and I can play it for you. If you don't score at the end of that drive, it's all for naught. You score at the end of that drive, and it's a huge reward. As
you watch tape for this final question in this segment, state of the running game. 6 people carry the ball, so you got inventive with it as well. It just wasn't the backs. 29 carries, 87 yards, 3.0 per carry, long of 12.
I just think everybody has a hand in the success of the running game. First, it does start with the offensive line, because those are the 5 guys up front that have the biggest moving responsibilities for the success of a running play. But when you look at the different motions added between receivers and tight ends, how effectively they're either setting the edge or cutting off any backside pursuit, how the hard yards that DeAndre Swift, Monangai are willing to take on a super physical approach. And it's different because Andre Swift, he hits the edge and he hits the interior with size, lowered shoulders, and a little force. Monangai hits it with a blaze. That dude is got to be as tough as nails, because he's not worried about anything that's standing in front of him, but he is going to break some big plays here. And it's just the more reps he gets, the more familiar he's going to become with the second level, and the bigger plays he's going to break open.
We get a look at the Raiders next with radio analyst Kirk Morrison. This is ESPN 1000 of the Bears Radio Network.
This is Bears Weekly with the voice of the Bears for 24 years, Jeff Joniak on the Bears Radio Network.
This segment of Bears Weekly is brought to you by IGS Energy. Welcome back to Bears Weekly, everybody, on ESPN 1000 of the Bears Radio Network with Super Bowl winning Bears guard Tom Thayer. I'm Jeff Joniak, pleased to be joined by the radio analyst and many, many other jobs. He is the one and only Kirk Morrison, the former draft pick of the Raiders. We're going to preview Vegas here on this Monday night. Kirk, thanks for the short notice. Typically we do the show on Thursday night, but as things happen, we had to do it tonight, so glad to have you join us. And also, we love you on Sirius XM NFL Radio. So the mind of Morrison. What is on the mind of Morrison this fine morning?
Well, trying to be in a better mood like you guys today, right, Jeff? I mean, you guys get a big victory over the Cowboys, and definitely the city's feeling really good about themselves because you finally saw glimpses of what the team, what the offense, and obviously what Ben Johnson can be to the Chicago Bears. On the opposite side for us in Las Vegas, a little bit different after a Week 1 victory at New England. Had back-to-back games. It just didn't play well, and I think the bigger one was losing to the Washington Commanders on Sunday, and them not having Jaden Daniels and Marcus Mariota in that offense and special teams really put it to us. So kind of licking our wounds a little bit and, getting ready for what we think is going to be an outstanding matchup on Sunday against the Bears.
Kirk, I've always been kind of fascinated by Genty because I really didn't know what to expect out of him. Is his greatness going to travel to the NFL level? So I've had the experience of playing with Walter Payton, so an undersized college, and the guy is unbelievably Hall of Fame productive. Mm-hmm. So your initial observations and feelings and, evaluation of Genty, where is his trajectory?
Well, I still think that he's going to have an outstanding career. I think with 3 games is not, with all due respect to that, I didn't. Yeah. Yeah. No. I'm just, for a lot of our fan base too. I think a lot of people, Tom, let's be honest, we're in a fantasy football world that we live in. So people don't watch the games. They just look at the stat sheet at the end and say, oh, he didn't have 100 yards, right? He didn't have any touchdowns. Oh, he's not doing well. But when I look at it, he's just a third game of his rookie season, and you can see glimpses of why he's, I think, a special back. And then there's other times you see him where, to be honest, he gets hit in the backfield. This offensive line has not blocked well. Geno Smith, the quarterback, has kind of been, running for his life the last couple games. And so there's a lot that goes into it for Ashton Genty. He needs to, obviously, his pass pro hasn't been the best as well. He's been kind of taken out on these obvious passing situations and even on third down. So he's going through, I think, the natural process of a rookie running back in the National Football League. They go through some growing pains in the beginning. I think the bigger thing, Tom and Jeff, is every time, and it's just for me and doing my analyst work in college football as well, you have so many running backs in the college ranks, they get to the NFL, and they're always trying to hit the home run. Everything, they're there. It's like, I'm trying to hit the big run. And the big runs come when you just run the play. That's how they happen. And so that's what I feel like I'm seeing with Genty a little bit. He's trying to hit the home run rather than just take a couple singles, right? Just finish some runs. The big ones will come in the future. So I think things will get better for him in the coming weeks, hopefully. But right now, I just feel like he's not playing at his best.
Let me ask you a question just to piggyback on that a little bit. So I'm not a huge fan of zone blocking and zone option running for running backs because I don't think they say discipline to the whole call. Sometimes they let their eyes freelance. Now looking at this offense from the eyes of a linebacker, a defensive player, is it more difficult to stay disciplined according to the defensive call, or do you have to stay disciplined to the defensive call because they give so much freedom to the running back?
Yeah, you have to, and it really is about setting your edge. If you got a good edge play, meaning linebackers or defensive ends who stay stout and they turn the ball back in, it sets up for a short corner. And running backs can't stretch the ball all the way out to that short corner. So it kind of goes, hand in hand a little bit. I would say this, I spent the majority of my career in the AFC West going against Mike Shanahan and those stretch run teams. I know the fits that it can put for a linebacker and feeling as if the ball is always going to go outside, but it's truly set to cut back. It's truly set to stay in between the tackles. And so I think that's also a little different for Ashton Genty. He didn't run as much as that in college, and yet, he's being asked to do that. So we'll see. I'm not a big fan of the shotgun runs. We see too many of those. Tom, come on, line me up in the I back. Give me a fullback. Line me up in the dot, right behind the quarterback under center, and let me get downhill. And I think that's been the best of Ashton Genty so far in the early part of the season when he's running downhill, getting to that second level. But right now, having to choose which door to go through, I think has been a little difficult for him because teams have showed him different looks to start the games.
Kirk Morrison, our guest here on ESPN 1000 of the Bears Radio Network. This is Bears Weekly. Jeff and Tom. I should just let you guys just talk about the run game. As a rookie, that Kirk Morrison, 135 tackles as a rookie third rounder out of San Diego State on his way to some 800 tackles in his NFL career. But I got to touch on the Geno Smith, Pete Carroll remarriage, and I was excited to see that. I think Geno's one of the better stories of a guy who didn't experience early success but hung in there, which we're seeing more of that in the NFL these days because I always thought of Jim Plunkett that way. We were talking the Raiders, big draft pick of the Patriots and goes on to win a Super Bowl. But he's leading the league in passing yards right now, albeit a rough outing against Washington overall for the team, but he's leading the NFL in passing yards through 3 weeks of the season. How is that working with him and Pete?
I think it's been a great marriage because Pete knows Gino, Gino knows Pete. And Pete has always preached competition. You compete all the way to the end. This is going to be a process. It doesn't happen right away. I think you guys are seeing that right now as well when it comes to the Bears and Ben Johnson and Caleb Williams. There's a process that you go through, but the familiarity between quarterback and head coach Pete Carroll and Geno Smith, you're seeing that Geno can shake off what would be a bad game that he had on a Monday night versus the Chargers and threw 3 interceptions, shake that off and come back with a bounce-back performance against the Washington Commanders that has an outstanding defense, an outstanding pass rush, where he had to make some things happen. I mean, this team was almost truly one-dimensional, and yet Geno Smith was able to extend some plays, get the ball down the field. He's also playing with a tight end who's kind of on one leg right now in Brock Bowers, who got injured in week number 1. So he's not really full 100%. So there's a lot of things that you love about what Geno Smith is doing. You need a leader like Geno who's been through the ups and the downs, and he's even keel. You lose a football game on Sunday to the Washington Commanders, and everyone thinks that the walls are caving in. And Geno's like, no, we just got to play better. We just got to block, got to run, got to tackle. We're fine. It's the early parts of the season, and you rather go through this now than have these conversations, I think, in week 12, week 13, where the season is more coming to an end. But right now, this is still the infancy stages of the football season. I think that's that chemistry that Geno and Pete Carroll bring, is that they know that this is a marathon, not a sprint.
Kirk, when I think one of the most fascinating guys on defense is Max Crosby.
Yeah.
His effort level, his ability, his athleticism, his relentlessness. Is he the alpha male on this football team, or is he just so energetic that his energy is infectious?
Yeah, he's the guy. He's the condor, man. He is the... he's the game wrecker, right? I already know Ben Johnson and Caleb Williams in their meeting come this week when they install that you better find where number 98 is at. He'll have the black jerseys on this weekend because we're at home. So find 98 in black because he can wreck your entire game plan, your entire blocking scheme. And he brings an effort and an ability to me that he can disrupt the passer in many different ways. I think, Tom, what's best about Max is that he just doesn't line up at defensive end. They've experimented with him going down to a 4-eye, going down to a 3, and maybe even lining up over the center, because when you have a player of Max's caliber, Tom, guess what? You, as an offensive line, you're going to chip. Hey, we need help. Like, you're just not going to put your right tackle on him one-on-one. You're going to bring a back. You're going to put a tight end over there. You're going to help out Cole Kmet, Loveland, all these guys. Hey, I need some help with this guy. So the Raiders have done a great job, I think, of putting Max in some different situations, putting him opposite where, offensive lines can help out. And his ability to be just, relentless and be able to loop in and loop out and run these games, that's what excites me. And hopefully he's got a favorable matchup this week in that, Caleb Williams is going to hold the football a little bit. He likes to make his throws, and he likes to extend plays. That wasn't the game plan as much last week versus the Commanders without Jaden Daniels. They just ran the football a lot with Marcus Mariota. So that's what I think the game plan is going to be, but he is the engine to this defense.
All right, last question before we let you go. Appreciate it once again, Kirk. I don't know what was in the special teams water throughout the National Football League in Week 3. I don't recall ever hearing so many big plays. You, unfortunately, had a witness 2 against you.
2 of them, yeah.
2 in 1 game. What the heck's going on in the special teams world right now? And nothing makes a team more angry or a coordinator more upset when somebody runs one back on you or blocks a field goal return or whatever the case may be.
Yeah, I've seen it at every level, being as a player as well. I've heard the infamous double thud when the kicker kicks it and then it gets blocked. And I've been on the opposite side where we've blocked kicks. I've been a part of punt return for touchdowns and, long kickoffs and how they just truly devastate a football team. I think, Jeff and Tom, I'll say this. I really believe in the early parts of the NFL season, a lot of young players playing special teams and a lot of young players understanding scheme and, this new dynamic kickoff where 3 years ago I would have told you this will never work. And I'll be honest, I'll raise my hand and say I was wrong. It is working. We're seeing more touchbacks, we're seeing more returns. We're seeing less touchbacks. We're seeing actual kickers have to place the ball. Now, I don't know how well you guys' golf game is, but to try to land the ball right around the green, from 100 yards out, it's pretty difficult for me. So try having a kicker try to land that ball in between the 20-yard line and the goal line. It's been pretty difficult. And if you do it right, you get an outstanding job of coverage. If you do it wrong, you have a lot of room, and we're seeing returners take advantage of that. So I think it has a lot to do with youth. I think it has a lot to do with scheme. And I think the early parts of the NFL season, a lot of guys are doing this for the first time. Special teams is not really, you see it in preseason, but I know from my career, it goes to a different level in the regular season, guys. And so that's what I'm going to hang my hat on in the early parts of this season, is that it's a lot of youth. It's a lot of guys seeing things for the first time. But now that you have it on tape, you're able to review, and you hopefully don't let that happen again.
Yeah, crazy week. All right, well, be looking forward to seeing you. Always enjoy your company. And I know this is your first year with the Raiders, right? In the radio. Are you enjoying it?
I love it, man. Yeah. I really do. This has been a dream come true for me. I've always, wanted to end up here as the Raiders color analyst. Even when I was a player, I always thought about doing this job. So I got the opportunity, and it's been great. So I know I owe you a cup of coffee, Jeff, from last year when I was, I spent 9 years with the Rams as their pre-halftime and post-game. And so I still appreciate the coffee when I came to Soldier Field last year when the Rams took on the Bears. So I owe you a coffee, Jeff.
I'll take you up on it. And from your perspective, I know we got to let you go, but Tom's always looking forward after the game and feels that it's going to be a heavy Bears crowd in Vegas. Do you guys experience that every time for a home game?
Yeah, every time. I mean, I've got family from Chicago over on the south side. So they've already gave me the text message this morning already. They said, hey, we'll be there Friday. And I'm like, I don't get there until Saturday. I've got college football duties. But a lot of Chicago Bears fans are coming. This is a big game, and we're used to it. It's the marquee game, right? When this schedule came out back in May, Bears are coming to town into September. Everyone circled that one. So we know what the crowd's going to be like. It's going to be a great atmosphere. I'm going to be honest, Jeff. It feels like it's going to be like a Super Bowl-like atmosphere, playoff-type atmosphere. I mean, I'm not going to lie to you, because you'll have both fan bases well represented, and the game is going to feel so much bigger for just I think a September afternoon game, right? The September afternoon Sunday football game is going to feel so much bigger.
All right. Well, we're looking forward to it, man. Appreciate the time.
I'm always. Appreciate it.
We'll continue with Bears Weekly after this break on ESPN 1000 of the Bears Radio Network.
Welcome back to Bears Weekly on the Bears Radio Network. Here's your host, the voice of the Bears, Jeff Joniak.
This segment of Bears Weekly brought to you by Athletico Physical Therapy. Visit athletico.com to request an in-clinic or virtual appointment and start feeling better tomorrow. Here we go. We got Tom's thoughts in our final few minutes here. Enjoyed Kirk Morrison, by the way, in the last segment. Get a beat on the Raiders. Real quick on the Raiders. I saw one review of the Raiders. 28 pressures allowed, 15 hurries, 5 sacks, 5 unblocked pressures, and Washington ran for 201 yards, 6.3 a carry without Jaden Daniels or without Austin Eckler. I don't know, man. I have you even dabbled into their tape yet?
I have, and I'm constantly watching it without listening to numbers, because I'm just looking at performance, because I don't want to get myself drowning in poor numbers by the Raiders, because it's the NFL, and, you didn't know what to expect out of Cleveland, Green Bay, then you see what happened. You didn't know what to expect out of Bears, Dallas, and you see what happened. So all I do, and I'm sure Ben does, is what can we do to improve our game planning, our performance, and our skills leading into the next week? And that's the way you should look at it.
All right, time for Tom's thoughts. Number one on the list, youth movement.
Okay, I've been waiting to see guys that come in young guys into this football team that they make the team more competitive. And when you're giving snaps to, Austin Booker's not available yet, but he's got some really good snaps coming out of the preseason. You got Dominic Robinson, young guy, but he's starting to get effective snaps, as you mentioned. Daniel Hardy starting to get effective snaps. Sewell and Shamar Turner got some good snaps on the inside. I think Shamar Turner got some quality snaps. I got to feed him more. And so I need to see his fast twitch movement and see what he can get out of it. Take him on the road now and see what he can get on an indoor building in Vegas. And then I look at the offensive side of it. Benedette, Luke Newman, Kyle Monangai, Burden, and Colston Loveland. Every one of these young guys, Jeff, are going to have a real meaningful part of the development, the success of this team. Even if a guy like Luke Newman isn't playing right now, he's going to go out and give that practice effort that, you're always taking him into consideration. If you got to put him in the game, I don't think you're going to skip a beat. You put Benedette in the game as a movable tight end tackle, but then he had to go play right tackle for Darnell Wright, and he didn't skip a beat. So every one of these young guys, that's a youth movement that we need to see, because that keeps the competition at the NFL as an all-time high.
All right. I don't know what your second one means, so why don't you take it? About 80 for prep. I don't know what this.
Right. About 80 for prep. So week by week, the defensive coordinator of the opponent gets about 88 snaps per week of preparation for Ben's offense. When you and Ben were talking about the different motions, the different movements, the different personnel groupings, the creativeness of some of the play designs, if you get about 88 snaps a game to prep your team for a Ben Johnson offense, you may be 40 snaps behind.
Oh, gosh.
And as the season goes on and the more Ben offers each opponent, the more the defensive coordinator is going to have to try to figure out how to prep my team for what this team is doing. And so you can't simulate everything. A lot of times you got to put point of emphasis while you're watching tape, or you got to put together a roll of tape and ask these guys and hope they watch it. I just don't think that 80 snaps a week is enough to be prepared for what Ben can offer you in the long run.
Well, we know Chicagoans are headed to Vegas. We touched on it with Kirk Morrison. You say that'll tell the story.
Well, you know how we started training camp and you say, you could shut your eyes and just listen to the coaches, and it kind of gives you a different tone of what training camp is. So if you went into that game and you shut your eyes, you could probably know who was winning the game or doing well just by the echo of the crowd, because I think it's going to be probably 60-40, 60% Chicago, 40% Vegas. And so I think if the Bears are doing really well, you're going to hear a really loud atmosphere. If the Vegas Raiders are doing well, you're going to hear a loud but muffled atmosphere. And so I do think that the crowd noise is going to be listened to, and you'll also be able to tell the story by what you hear.
Okay, well, we can't wait. Week 4 about to come right at us quickly. That's going to do it for us. Thanks to everybody for listening tonight. The executive producer of the Bears Radio Network, Eric Ostrowski. Thanks to Kendra Smith in the ESPN studios. Dan Bruley, Jordan Tredup, and Katie Fox. For Tom Thayer, our guest, Kirk Morrison, I'm Jeff Joniak. This has been Bears Weekly on the radio home of the Chicago Bears, ESPN Chicago. Thanks for listening, everybody. Coming up next, Amber and Ian on ESPN Radio National. This is ESPN Chicago. Have a good night, everybody.
Thank you for listening to the Chicago Bears Network presentation of Bears Weekly, hosted by the Mayor of Bearsville, Jeff Joniak, and Surfmaster Tom Thayer. Podcasts are available on the Chicago Bears official app, brought to you by Verizon and Apple Podcasts. Bears Weekly has been brought to you by Miller Lite.